Look, I know, you're all tired of seeing Fire Red runs over and over again, so how about we go back to a good old Gen 2 run? I've only done one other before, so I thought I'd try it again. This time, I'm using Ledyba, one of the worst Pokemon introduced in Gen 2, which is saying a lot. Stat-wise, there isn't really much good to say. Sure, the special defense is nice, but our physical attack is basically none. Unfortunately, that poor physical attack stat is made even worse with Ledyba's level up move list, which consists of only normal type attacking moves, and some psychic type status moves. By TM, there are a few cool things, notably 2 of the elemental punches, so at least I'll have some coverage. I highly doubt I can beat Red though. Anyway, if you enjoy my suffering and want to see more of this stuff, consider subscribing. Apparently 96.3% of you guys who watch my channel aren't subscribed. Of course, only subscribe if you enjoy. Let's begin the challenge. So right off the bat, I can tell just how bad the early game is going to be. I only have tackle at this level, which means that I'm barely doing anything. I actually lose the first rival fight this time because of how little damage I do. That's a first, like, in my entire life. Anyway, fast forward and we're off to a great start. The very first trainer in the gym 3-shots me. By the way, I battled all of the Sprout Tower trainers already. Oh god, it's already time to grind. The grind here is basically like Viridian Forest. Everything here is at most level 5, so I'm gaining very little experience with each battle. I'm really hoping that this is the hardest grinding session because if it isn't, I'm gonna be in for a really rough time. Immediately after I get Comet Punch, I go back to fight the trainer. I get a lucky 5-hit Comet Punch which nearly takes him out, so I get the easy win. What a loser. So I try Falkner at level 15, but it's just way too luck reliant for me to be able to win easily. I'll grind a bit more and try again later. At level 19, I try again. I go for Comet Punch, but it's only a 2-hit, which brings it to a little above half. I go for Comet Punch again, and luckily I take it out. Next is Pidgeotto, and I get a lucky first turn Supersonic to confuse him. He hits Gust and does quite a bit. I go for Comet Punch, and it's a 4-hit. He hits again, and I need to take him out now. I go for Comet Punch and just barely take him out with a crit. My next obstacle isn't Bugsy, however. It's Hiker Russell, a random hiker in Union Cave. He's mandatory and has 3 Geodudes. Luckily, they're all too low level to have Rock Throw, so they can only use Tackle. Comet Punch hits multiple times, so they weren't too hard to deal with. I really need some new moves soon. So yeah, Bugsy wasn't really a huge threat. I resist Scyther's Fury Cutter, and with Reflect, it's basically a 4 times resistance. I wasn't expecting him to really be a challenge at all, and he wasn't. So right away, there is a problem. Rival 2 has a Ghastly, which is immune to all of my attacks. I don't want to rely on Supersonic to take it down, and I don't have any other TMs for Ledyba to learn, so I have one option. Use up all of my status move power points on Wild Magikarp, then grind off of Wild Mareep to get special attack EVs. Alright, see you guys in like 3 years. Alright, so this ended up taking twice as long because I'm the whole circus, and I accidentally looked away and evolved Ledyba, so I had to reset the game and do the process all over again. So yeah, I had a really brilliant time. But finally, I can battle Rival 2. He just used random moves like Leer, even though he never used a physical move once. Last is Zubat, but it can't really do much. So you'd think Whitney would be an absolute pain because of her Miltank being able to heal and use Rollout, but no. I tell Ledyba the 2 elemental punches it can learn, which gives it some much needed special attacking moves, and I get a lucky freeze on Miltank, so it didn't get a chance to attack. Okay, well that was simple. What wasn't so easy was Rival 4, however. His Hunter seems to always use Curse at the beginning, which will take me out in 4 turns, and there isn't a way I can defeat his entire team in 4 turns. However, again, I get a lucky freeze on his Hunter on my 3rd attempt, which is barely enough to win me the fight. Ice Punch might be a lifesaver for the future. I was expecting Morty to be a brick wall, but I actually ended up beating him first try. It was mostly due to him using a ton of bad moves towards the end, like Mean Look twice. It's sad because he went for Curse at the very beginning, so he was off to a good start. Okay, so fast forward a bit and we're at Chuck. He's not really a threat though, since he doesn't have anything good against me. His fighting moves are 4 times resisted by me, actually. Next is Jasmine, and I replaced Reflect with Dig. This still took me a few tries though, mainly because of Steelix being able to nail me with a 4 times effective Rock Throw. However, I got this extremely lucky attempt where Steelix hit me to take almost all of my health out, and then I freeze it, which got me the win. Wow, that was really lucky, and way too close for comfort. So Price was interesting. His Seal and Dugong are both part water, so my Thunder Punches do good damage to both of them. However, I already knew that I didn't have a great answer to his Piloswine. My only option was just to Brute Force using Ice Punch. Surprisingly, his Blizzard didn't do that much, and after a few more Ice Punches, I got the win with just 11 HP. I'm surprised at how quick this run is going. Of course, as I did with the other Pichu run, I'm just gonna skip over the Rocket Hideout stuff since there really isn't that much to go over. They all use really weak poison and normal type Pokemon, so Ledyba didn't have much of a problem. Even the final leader's Houndoom didn't stand a chance against Dig. However, what I will go over is Rival 4. Not because it was anything crazy intense, but because of how hilariously easy it was. His first two Pokemon are both one-shots with Ice Punch and Dig respectively, then out comes Quilava and he doesn't go for an attack. He just uses Smokescreen, which is annoying, but that means he goes down easily. Next is Haunter, but he has low defense, and the last is Sneasel. However, the only thing he can really use is Quick Attack, and I'm at full health, so I take it out without ever getting low. And guess what? Believe it or not, Claire was a breeze. Her Dragonair surprisingly all went down with just one Ice Punch each, despite my low level lead. Kingdra took quite a lot of damage from my Ice Punches too. I won the battle without losing any health. Man, Gen 2's trainers are just so weak. With that, I head straight for the Pokemon League. Unfortunately, I have to fight Rival 5 first. His Sneasel goes down with one Double Edge, and his Golbat also goes down to one Ice Punch. Third is Magneton, but one Dig takes him out. Fourth is Typhlosion, and I was a little bit worried, but Dig was a 2-shot, and his Flame Wheels didn't really do all that much, so I'm at Haunter with more than half HP. I go for Dig, and he misses Curse, and surprisingly, I one-shot it. Last is Kadabra, but it has awful defense, so one Double Edge takes it out. Alright, that was pretty easy. I didn't expect this run to be going so well throughout the entire game, but here we are at just level 60. I'm not sure if I can beat the Elite Four, but I do have decent move coverage, so it wouldn't hurt to try. So, unlike the Kanto Elite Four, the Johto Elite Four are kind of a joke in comparison. I mean, take Will as a prime example. His Pokemon are all in the low 40s, and the most damage any of his Pokemon did was his Exeggutor, which just used Egg Bomb. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to be a challenge at all. Next is Koga, and this was extremely close to my surprise. Ariados doesn't pose a threat, as he just uses Double Team, but Crobat outspeeds me, uses Double Team, I miss my Ice Punch. He luckily misses Toxic, but on the next turn he uses Wing Attack that is half my health. Next is Venomoth, and he thankfully got frozen, so I took him out easily. Fourth is Fortress, and this thing is tanky. I go for Thunder Punch, and it's doing a little bit less than half. He goes for Spikes for some reason, so I just chip him down and take him out. Last is Muck, and I'm feeling a little bit hopeless, but I get a clutch freeze with Ice Punch. I'm pretty sure he would have taken me out right there and then if I didn't get that freeze. Next is Bruno, but unfortunately this isn't looking good. His first three Pokemon chip me away and then Machamp just finishes me with a Rock Slide. Alright, time to start thinking of a plan. So after some thinking, I came up with a strategy. It's a really bad and luck reliant one, but it's the only thing I can think of besides grinding a ton, which I don't want to do. I teach Dynamic Punch. It's a 100 base power move that always causes confusion if it hits. Now you're probably wondering, why didn't you teach that as soon as you got it? Well, there's a catch. It has a 50% chance of missing. Yeah, not very reliable. However, as you can see here, I get some optimal luck and Machamp hits itself twice in confusion, which does a lot due to its high attack. So I make it to hit modeling with green health, and again, I hit, I think that was 3 Dynamic Punches with no misses. I am incredibly lucky this run. Fourth is Karen, and again, my insane luck strikes again. Umbreon gets one shot by a crit Dynamic Punch, so that was about a 3% chance. Next is Houndoom, and I miss my first Dynamic Punch and take a big Flamethrower that deals half my health. Thankfully, I hit my next Dynamic Punch, taking it out. Next is Gengar, so I go for Dig, and it goes for Curse. I'm worried that she'll go for Curse again the next turn, but she just goes for Spite, so I take her out. Interesting move choice. Murkrow is obviously a one-shot, and last is Vileplume, but a crit Ice Punch one-shots it. Alright, that was a pretty easy Elite Four. Okay, finally Lance. Gyarados is a one-shot with Thunder Punch of course, and then he just sends out 2 of his Dragonites back to back for some reason, even though Ice Punch is a one-shot to both of them. However, Aerodactyl is where things get crazy. He goes for Rock Slide that definitely would have one-shot me, and he misses. That's a 10% chance of happening. Then I go for Ice Punch, and it crits. I'm pretty sure that mattered. Anyway, on to Charizard, and his Wing Attack does half my health, while I two-shot him with Thunder Punch. Last is his level 50 Dragonite, but of course, Ice Punch one-shots it. What an anticlimactic ending. So normally this is where I do my little outro and say how difficult this run was, but not only was it not really that hard, but this is Gen 2. I still have the entirety of Kanto to rush through. However, the gym leaders aren't really anything notable as they all just use 3 or 4 Pokemon on their teams, so I'll just go straight to Blue, the only really challenging Kanto gym leader. As expected, Blue was pretty challenging. This took a few tries since he has multiple Pokemon that can do a ton of damage to me while I can't one-shot them. Pidgeot goes down pretty easily, but he does land an Ice Punch using Mirror Move. Next is Rhydon, and surprisingly, Ice Punch isn't a one-shot. Luckily, he gets frozen, so one more Ice Punch takes it out. Next is Arcanine, and I was scared. I went for Dynamic Punch, and it luckily hit. Even more lucky, he hit himself in confusion the turn after. I took him out without losing any health. Next is Gyarados, and again, to my surprise, it's not a one-shot. He just goes for Rain Dance though, so I take him out. Next is Exeggutor, and he goes for Leech Seed, which could be fatal. It's now down to Alakazam versus me, but I'm losing health every turn, and his Psychics do quite a lot. I go for Dynamic Punch out of desperation, and I get the lucky hit. He hits himself in confusion, and a few more turns later, I take him out. Wow, Dynamic Punch has saved me a lot in this run. But even though we didn't have a terrible time against Blue, I really am not gonna have an easy time against Red. I tried this at level 73, but honestly, I had no hope of even getting close. Pikachu outspeeds, but he luckily misses both Thunder and Charm, and then Charizard outspeeds and then just one-shots me. Okay, that's just great. So I try this much later at level 80 and I'm still slower than his Pikachu, and he goes for Charm and he hits. I take Pikachu out, but then Charizard takes me down to 33 HP, while my Thunder Punch doesn't even do half. By the way, I equipped the Never Melt Ice for this fight, which lowers the power of Fire-type moves. This is looking really hopeless. How did I win this with Pichu? Okay, so I decided to teach Hidden Power to Ledyba. I found out a while ago that it was Rock type, but I never bothered to teach it since I didn't think it would be useful. Let's see how much better we do. Alright, we're on Charizard, and okay, I don't even know if this is possible. I try again at level 91 after spending multiple hours on this fight. So the strategy that has to work at the beginning is to hit Dynamic Punch, then Pikachu needs to hit itself, then I gotta finish it off with Ice Punch. That doesn't happen, but I do take Pikachu out without losing health. I outspeed Charizard now at this level, but still, his Flamethrower still takes over half of my health out. Next is Blastoise, and once again, I hit Dynamic Punch, and he hits himself. I go for Thunder Punch, which does less than half, but luckily he hits himself again, so I take him out. But here's the real issue. Snorlax. One Body Slam will knock me out in one hit. I have to not miss Dynamic Punch, and he has to hit himself. In some miraculous stroke of luck, both happen, and I hit again and take him out. Fifth is Venusaur, but he always just uses Solar Beam, so 2 Ice Punches barely take it out with a good range. Finally, Espeon. And I don't have a strategy here other than to just hope for a crit or to freeze. First hit, don't get either. Psychic takes me down to 11 HP. I hit Ice Punch again, and I get the freeze. I just won. I literally was speechless when this happened in real time. Oh my god. You know, that Wooper run was incredibly luck-based, but this fight alone may have been even luckier. So that's it, Pokemon Gold with ONE Ledyba. I have to say that final red fight was insane. Most of this run was a breeze, but seeing such a jump in difficulty was unexpected, but I'm glad that I managed to win, even if it was incredibly lucky. I'm not lying, I spent a good probably around 3 hours on that fight, just resetting the game every time any of that plan didn't go accordingly. That fight alone might have been worse than the whole Wooper run. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing. These runs with these really weak Pokemon are really tedious, so any support is greatly appreciated. Of course, if you have any suggestions for future ideas, don't forget to leave them in the comments. Alright, I think I'm gonna go buy a lottery ticket after winning that fight. See you soon.